Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you something powerful. Who decides how far a woman can go? Is it tradition, fear, or the quiet voice of doubt that society places inside her heart? Today, I want to take you into the journey of a woman who was told, again and again, to stay within limits she never agreed to. She grew up in a culture where leadership was not meant for women, where speaking up was seen as rebellion, and where silence was praised as virtue. Yet something within her refused to bow. Not loudly at first, not dramatically, but with a steady courage that whispered, "There must be more than this." She faced raised eyebrows when she shared ideas, criticism when she stepped forward, and resistance when she refused to step back. People said leadership was not her role, that change was not her responsibility, that her dreams were too big for the space she was given. But here is the hook. She did not fight culture with anger. She challenged it with purpose. She listened, learned, and then acted. She started by helping one family, guiding one young girl, solving one small problem in her community. And slowly, something remarkable happened. The same voices that questioned her began to watch her. The same doors that were closed began to open. As a stories expert, I can tell you this. Real leaders are not born on stages, they are shaped in struggle. She balanced respect for tradition with the courage to question it. She built trust where there was doubt and created unity where there was division. When people tried to silence her, she spoke through service. When they underestimated her, she outworked expectations. Every obstacle became a lesson, every setback became fuel. And soon, she was no longer asking for a seat at the table. She was building a table where everyone had a place. She was born into a world where expectations were written long before her name was spoken, where culture quietly decided how far a woman could walk, how loudly she could speak, and how big she was allowed to dream. From a young age, she learned the unspoken rules. Stay in your place. Don't question traditions. Don't step forward when men are already standing there. But even as she followed these rules on the outside, something powerful was forming inside her. A question kept returning to her heart like a drumbeat. What if my voice is meant to change something? That question became the spark that refused to die. Every time she saw injustice in her community, every time she watched women suffer in silence, every time she was told, "This is not for you," that spark grew stronger. She did not wake up one day fearless. Courage came to her slowly, earned through doubt, criticism, and lonely nights where giving up seemed easier than pushing forward. The first step she took was not on a stage or in front of a crowd. It was within herself. She chose to believe that her thoughts mattered, even when no one else did. She educated herself quietly, listened carefully to the problems around her, and learned the language of her community so deeply that even those who opposed her could not deny her understanding. When she finally spoke up, her voice trembled, but it carried truth. People laughed, questioned her intentions, and reminded her of traditions as if they were walls she could never climb. Yet, she discovered something extraordinary. Traditions may be old, but they are not stronger than purpose. With every small action, organizing a meeting, helping a family, standing beside another woman, she turned resistance into recognition. Not because she demanded respect, but because she earned trust through service. There were moments when the pressure was unbearable, when whispers turned into warnings and silence was offered as the safer choice. But she understood that leadership is not about comfort, it is about responsibility. She learned to stand steady when criticized and remain humble when praised. Slowly, the same community that once tried to limit her began to rely on her. Her journey reminds us that breaking cultural barriers does not always mean fighting loudly. Sometimes it means standing consistently, compassionately, and courageously until change has no choice but to follow. Her story asks us a powerful question. If one woman can rise from silence to leadership, what is truly stopping the rest of us? She did not wait for permission to lead. She learned to lead while being told she had no right to stand at the front. In a culture where women were expected to remain silent, she chose to speak, not loudly at first, not confidently, but honestly. Every time she raised her voice in a community meeting, her heart raced, yet she spoke anyway. That is where leadership truly begins, not with applause, but with courage in the face of disapproval. She listened deeply to the problems around her: girls denied education, families trapped in poverty, women afraid to report injustice, and instead of turning away, she leaned in. People doubted her not because she lacked ideas, but because she challenged traditions that had gone unquestioned for generations. And here is the hook we must remember: real change always feels uncomfortable at first. She faced criticism disguised as advice, resistance hidden behind concern, and fear masked as culture. Still, she kept showing up because she understood something powerful: silence protects problems, not people. She began by serving where no one else wanted to serve, walking door to door, holding small gatherings, building trust one conversation at a time. Leadership, she proved, is not about titles, it is about responsibility. When men refused to sit in the same room with her, she stood firm. When elders dismissed her ideas, she refined them and returned stronger. Each setback became fuel, not a full stop. She learned to balance respect for her culture with the courage to question its limits, and that balance made her unstoppable. Slowly, perceptions shifted. People who once ignored her began to seek her advice. Those who doubted her intentions started to witness real results: children returning to school, families gaining access to resources, women finding the confidence to speak for themselves. This is the turning point in every brave woman's story, when persistence outlasts prejudice. She did not become a community leader overnight. She earned it through consistency, integrity, and service. And that is the lesson she leaves for all of us. You do not need to break your culture to improve it. You need the bravery to guide it forward. Her journey reminds us that leadership is not granted by society. It is claimed through action. When one woman stands up, she does not stand alone for long. Others rise beside her. And that is how barriers fall, not with noise and conflict, but with courage, patience, and an unshakable belief that change is possible, even where it has never been allowed before. She did not wake up one day as a leader. She grew into one by choosing courage in moments when silence felt safer. In a community where women were expected to observe, not organize, to follow, not question, she understood very early that real change begins quietly, with one brave decision. She started by listening to women whose voices were never heard, to families struggling without representation, to young girls who had learned to lower their dreams before they even learned to name them. And here is the powerful hook. Leadership does not always begin with a microphone. Sometimes it begins with empathy. She used that empathy as her strength, stepping forward not as someone who claimed authority, but as someone who carried the collective pain and hope of her people. Every step she took challenged an unwritten rule. When she spoke in gatherings dominated by men, her voice trembled, but it did not retreat. When she organized meetings for women, doors were closed, rumors were spread, and doubts were planted, yet she kept showing up. This is where her transformation became undeniable. She learned that leadership is not about being fearless. It is about being faithful to your purpose even when fear is loud. Each setback refined her confidence. Each criticism sharpened her clarity. Slowly, people began to notice that solutions followed her presence. Problems that had lingered for years started to find direction, not because she was powerful, but because she was persistent. What truly set her apart was her ability to unite rather than divide. She bridged generations, cultures, and mindsets by speaking a language everyone understood: respect. She involved elders without threatening tradition and empowered youth without dismissing experience. This balance became her signature. And here is the moment that grabs the heart. The same community that once questioned her presence began to seek her guidance. Trust replaced resistance. Influence replaced permission. She proved that leadership earned through service lasts longer than leadership claimed through position. As her impact expanded, she became more than an individual. She became a symbol. Women saw possibility in her journey. Men saw progress through her vision. Children saw a future where limits were negotiable. She never claimed perfection, only responsibility. And that is the lesson her story teaches us with undeniable force. When a woman dares to stand for her community, she does not just change policies or practices, she reshapes beliefs. Her journey reminds us that true leaders are not born in comfort zones. They are built in resistance, strengthened by purpose, and remembered for the doors they open for others. What makes this part of her journey truly unforgettable is not just that she became a community leader, but how she chose to lead once she finally earned that space. She did not arrive with anger in her voice or revenge in her heart. She arrived with responsibility. After years of being told to stay silent, she understood the power of listening. After years of exclusion, she understood the importance of inclusion. And that awareness shaped the kind of leader she became. She didn't lead to prove she was right. She led to prove that everyone mattered. That is where real leadership begins, not with titles or applause, but with purpose. As she stepped into leadership, the same society that once resisted her began watching her closely, waiting for mistakes, waiting for failure. But instead of shrinking under pressure, she expanded. She spoke with clarity, not aggression. She stood firm, not stubborn. She addressed problems others avoided, especially those affecting women, children, and marginalized families. And here is the hook many miss. Leadership didn't change her character, it revealed it. The courage she showed as a young woman breaking cultural barriers now transformed into wisdom as a leader building bridges. She created safe spaces where voices long ignored could finally be heard. She challenged harmful traditions without insulting culture. She proved that progress does not mean disrespect, and strength does not mean rebellion. This balance is rare, and it is powerful. People who once doubted her slowly began to trust her, not because she demanded respect, but because she earned it through consistency, integrity, and action. Every small victory became evidence that change is possible when leadership is rooted in empathy. And let me pause you right here, because this is important. She did not wait for permission to lead perfectly. She led while learning. She led while growing. She led while carrying fear, doubt, and exhaustion. That is the truth behind most impactful leaders. They don't feel ready, they feel responsible. She made mistakes, faced criticism, and endured setbacks, but she never disconnected from the people she served. That connection became her strength. Over time, her leadership did more than solve problems. It shifted mindsets. Young girls began to see new possibilities. Families began to rethink old limitations. Men who once resisted her presence began to support her vision. Her journey sent a powerful message through the community. When one woman rises with courage and compassion, she doesn't rise alone. She lifts an entire generation with her. And that is the legacy of a woman who defied cultural barriers and turned leadership into a force for lasting change. Today, she stands not just as a leader, but as a symbol of what happens when a woman refuses to shrink. Her journey teaches us that cultural barriers are powerful, but a woman with clarity, patience, and courage is unstoppable. She proved that leadership is not about permission, it is about responsibility. Responsibility to uplift, to serve, and to leave the world better than you found it. So let this story stay with you. Let it remind you that change does not begin when society is ready. It begins when one brave woman decides she is. If she can rise from limitation to leadership, then every woman listening today carries that same potential. The question is not, can you lead? The real question is, when will you begin?